Morning in Rome. Morning comes softly over the ancient city. The first light slides across the rooftops, touching the edges of broken tiles and faded plaster. The air is cool, carrying the scent of ash and damp stone. There is no noise yet, only the slow breath of a city still half asleep. Somewhere, far away, a rooster calls. The sound drifts between narrow walls, echoing faintly, as if it has forgotten its way home. From the Tiber, a thin mist rises, curling through the streets like smoke. It moves past doorways, through small arches, and settles quietly in corners where no one has stirred. Inside a one-room dwelling, a man wakes before the light reaches his face. He lies still for a moment, feeling the roughness of straw beneath his body, listening to the rhythm of his own breath. The bed creaks softly as he turns. The blanket, coarse and heavy, slides across his shoulder. It smells faintly of smoke, dust, and winter. There is no rush to rise. The day does not shout him awake. It waits, patient, unhurried, like the stones themselves. He opens his eyes to the grey half-light. The walls are uneven, patched again and again with clay. A small lamp rests on the floor, its oil spent, its wick dark. A single ray of morning seeps through a crack, catching the edge of a wooden bowl and making it glow. He sits up, slowly. The floor is cold underfoot. He takes a small jug of water, pours a little into his hands, and washes his face. The touch of water is sharp and real. It wakes him in silence. He does not look for a mirror. He knows his reflection by feel. The lines of his face, the roughness of his palms, the faint scar near his temple. It is enough. The air is thick with stillness. Somewhere below, a cartwheel rolls once, then stops. A dog shakes itself awake. The faint sound of hooves echoes from far away, soft and hollow. He dresses in a plain tunic, the fabric worn thin from years of work. Each fold falls easily, like a habit remembered without thought. He ties a cord around his waist and stands beside the doorway. Outside, the city waits in quiet grey. When he opens the door, the air greets him cool and still. The street is narrow, paved with stones that glisten faintly from the night's mist. A woman passes carrying a clay jar on her hip. Her steps are slow, measured. She nods once as she passes. No words are exchanged. None are needed. The city is waking. A faint hum begins. The sound of brooms, sweeping dust, a shutter creaking open, a door closing gently. Somewhere, water spills into a trough. A baker's oven begins to breathe. The smell of rising dough and smoke mixes with the cool air. Down the street, two children run past, their sandals tapping like soft rain. A man calls after them, his voice low and even, not angry, just part of the morning. A cat leaps from one wall to another, its shadow sliding along the stones. The man walks toward the fountain. The stones are smooth from centuries of footsteps. At the corner, a small market stirs. Stalls are being opened, cloths lifted from baskets, bread arranged in rows. Voices begin to rise, still gentle, like the city learning to speak again after a long night. He kneels by the fountain. Water flows from the mouth of a carved lion, clear and cool. He fills a small clay cup, drinks slowly, and lets the rest fall through his fingers. The sound of water becomes everything. Steady, simple, alive.
The sky brightens.
Light touches the edges of the city, turning dust into gold for a moment, then fading back to grey. People move through the streets now, carriers, vendors, workers. Each step, each motion joins the rhythm of the morning. There are no words for it, no beginning or end, just motion as certain as breath. A boy sweeps the steps of a temple nearby. The bristles whisper against stone. Across the street, an old woman sells olives from a bowl of dark wood. The scent of oil and salt drifts through the air. The man passes by them quietly. He does not speak. He only watches, absorbing the calm weight of routine. The city is alive now, but not loud. Every sound belongs to the same slow harmony.
The creak of leather,
the soft murmur of voices, the sigh of wind between walls. He finds a place to sit. A low step beside a doorway. He eats a small piece of bread, saved from the night before. It is hard, but warm in the sun. He chews slowly, eyes half closed, feeling the light spread across his hands. The warmth grows. Pigeons gather on the roof above, their wings flickering in soft bursts. The city breathes deeper now. The hum of life expands, but beneath it all,
there remains a stillness.
A kind of balance the day never loses. Even as carts roll past, as workers lift baskets, as voices weave through the air, there is a calm inside it all. The man finishes his bread, dusts his hands against his knees, and rises slowly. He looks down the street.
Light glinting on water,
Steam rising from the baker's window.
A curtain moving in the breeze.
He takes a step forward, then another. There is no hurry. The day will unfold at its own pace.
The sound of the fountain fades behind him.
The scent of baking bread follows for a while, then disappears into the air. He walks until the noise of the morning blends into one soft tone. A murmur of work, water, and distant laughter. Rome is awake now, but gently. It does not shout its name, it hums it, a song of stone and time and breath. And in that rhythm, you can almost hear the world itself. Beginning another quiet day. Daily struggles. The morning deepens. Light spreads gently across the rooftops of Rome, warming the color of the stones, turning gray into gold, then fading again into soft dust. The air begins to move, carrying the faint scent of bread and clay. You stand in the street, a small shape among thousands, part of a city that wakes the same way every day. Slowly, quietly, without hurry. Your stomach reminds you it is time to eat. You hold a small piece of bread, hard at the edges, soft near the center. It was baked yesterday, and though dry, it still carries the faint warmth of the oven. You tear it apart with steady hands,
dip it in watered wine,
and chew slowly. The taste is plain: wheat, salt, thyme. It fills you, not as a feast, but as a beginning. Around you, others do the same. A mason crouches by the wall, eating in silence. A woman feeds a child from a small bowl. Two men share a jug of water, passing it between them without words.
The street hums softly with the sound of chewing,
footsteps and cloth brushing against stone. There is no talk of plans or dreams here. Each day repeats itself steady as a tide.
The baker bakes,
the potter shapes, the carrier lifts. You do what you have always done, and the rhythm holds you. It does not change.
When the bread is gone, you wipe your hands on your tunic.
The fabric is rough, the color faded by sun and years. You rise, stretch your back, and begin to walk. The streets are narrow, their stones polished smooth by generations of feet. Your sandals slap softly as you move.
The sound blends with others.
The creak of a wheel, the ring of a distant hammer.
A vendor calling the price of figs.
The market is small this morning. A few stalls stand open, their owners still half asleep. You pass baskets of fruit, clay jars of oil, and bolts of rough cloth stacked in a corner.
The smell of olives and smoke lingers in the air.
A donkey passes,
its breath visible in the cool light.
You stop at a fountain to drink. The water flows from the mouth of a stone lion, clear and cold. You cup your hands, drink deeply, and let the rest fall through your fingers. It splashes onto your sandals, darkening the dust. For a moment,
the world narrows to the sound of water.
Then it widens again. A cart rattles past, laden with bricks. A boy runs behind it, barefoot, laughing at something unseen. The driver does not look back. He is already part of the day's work. You continue walking. The streets twist like lines drawn by memory. The sun lifts higher. The city brightens. Walls catch the light and throw it back unevenly. Shadows hide in corners, waiting for evening to come again. A small group of laborers gathers near a half-built wall. They nod as you approach. No greetings are exchanged, just the silent recognition of another pair of hands. You set down your tools, the work begins, the sound of labor fills the air. Stone against stone, wood against rope, iron against earth. The rhythm is simple: lift, place, breathe, repeat. Hours pass without notice.
Sweat gathers on your brow.
The dust clings to your arms, your neck,
your clothes.
The sun climbs higher,
and the air grows heavy.
A man nearby hums a low tune, something he has sung for years. It has no words, it does not need any, it is just sound.
Steady, circular.
A reminder that time is moving even when you do not feel it. At midday, the foreman calls for rest. You sit in the shade of the wall you are building. The stone radiates the morning's heat. You unwrap a small bundle of food. Bread again, a few olives, a sip of watered wine. The taste is familiar, comforting in its sameness. You eat slowly. The breeze passes across your face. Somewhere nearby, a hammer strikes. Once and then stops. A bird lands on the wall above you. It tilts its head, then flies away. Around you, the others rest too. No one speaks much.
Words feel heavy when the body is tired.
Instead, there is only breathing. Deep, slow, shared. You look down at your hands. The skin is cracked, the nails lined with dust.
They do not hurt?
They only tell the truth. When the rest is over,
you rise again.
The wall grows a little higher.
The sun tilts west.
Your movement slow but steady, measured by instinct, not by clocks. There are no clocks in this city, only shadows. They stretch and shift, telling time without words. You follow them without thought. They move, you move, and the day continues. The city hums around you.
A woman sings to her child in the next courtyard.
A dog barks once, then settles into sleep. The sound of water echoes faintly through the pipes that run beneath the streets. All of it blends into one steady tone. Rome itself seems to breathe. As the afternoon deepens, you pause to stretch your back. The light has changed. Softer now, a little golden at the edges. You wipe your hands on your tunic.
Take a long drink from your jug
And watch the dust rise with each movement of your feet. The foreman speaks again, his voice calm. He points to the corner where new bricks wait. You nod and return to work. No orders are questioned. No anger is shown. Everyone understands the rhythm. Work, rest, work, breathe. Like the turning of the seasons. By late afternoon, the noise begins to fade. The hammers slow. The voices drop. The air cools again. Shadows crawl back across the ground. The city exhales. You step away from the wall, stretch your arms and look at what you have built.
It is not much, but it stands.
Straight, strong, a quiet mark of another day's effort. It will hold through rain and sun. That is enough. You rinse your hands in the basin.
The water runs dark for a moment, then clears again.
You watch it flow, thinking of nothing in particular. The sound soothes you.
It is the same sound that began your morning.
It will end your night. The tools are set aside. The others gather their things, their faces lined but calm. A few nods are exchanged, simple gestures of completion. No words of pride, no complaints.
Only quiet understanding.
You sling your small bag over your shoulder and begin to walk home. The street glows with evening light and the city hums once more. A softer hum now, gentler, as if it too has earned its rest. Behind you, the wall stands silent in the dusk. Before you, Rome opens again. Streets, voices, and the slow promise of night. You walk slowly,
your footsteps matching the rhythm of the city's breath.
There is no rush. There never is. The work is done. The day is enough. The streets of Rome.
The sun has climbed higher now.
It hangs above the rooftops, round and pale, turning the edges of the city soft and gold. The air shimmers with quiet heat. Shadows shrink and gather beneath doorways. The hum of Rome deepens. You walk slowly through the narrow streets. Each step sounds the same. The flat tap of leather against stone, steady, even patient. The road beneath you has been worn smooth by countless feet before yours.
Each stone remembers them all.
Every mark, every groove, a small trace of lives that once passed here. Around you, the city moves at its own rhythm. Vendors open their stalls, lifting the cloth from baskets of figs and olives. The scent of fruit mixes with dust and the faint sweetness of wine. Voices call out, not loudly, just enough to be heard. The same phrases repeated each day, their tones soft with habit. A potter rolls his wheel in the shade of a doorway. The clay spins slowly between his hands, wet, heavy, alive. His fingers shape it into something useful, something ordinary, something that will hold water for another family. He hums under his breath, and the sound fades into the murmur of the street. You pass a woman mending cloth beside a window. Her hands move with calm precision, needle gliding through fabric like a small silver fish. The thread catches the light. Each stitch holds a story. A sleeve repaired, a hem fixed, a life held together by patience. Further ahead, a group of children chase one another. Their sandals slap against the stones. They weave between carts and shadows, their laughter rising and falling like the notes of a simple tune. The sound carries down the street,
bouncing off the walls.
then fades into the hum of the day. A man pushes a cart filled with amphora.
The jars knock gently against each other, clay against clay,
A soft percussion to the city's endless song. He stops to rest, wiping his forehead with the back of his arm. Sweat shines briefly, then disappears in the dry air. He does not complain. He just breathes and continues. The light thickens as the sun climbs higher. Heat settles over the stones like a blanket. Even the air feels slower now. Flies drift lazily through the sunlight. A dog sleeps in the shadow of a doorway, its chest rising and falling in time with the city's pulse. You pass under an archway. The air there is cooler, the sound gentler. The stone above your head hums faintly. Not from voices or wind, but from the quiet weight of time. You pause to feel it, then move on. Beyond the arch, the street widens into a small square. A fountain stands in the center, its basin worn smooth by centuries of hands. Water spills from the Ems, steady and sure.
You sit on the edge for a while,
watching ripples form and fade. Children come with small cups, women fill their jars, and the fountain keeps singing. Never louder, never softer, just constant. You dip your hand in, the water is cool. It clings briefly to your skin, then drips away.
It feels like a breath.
A single moment that reminds you. You are part of this quiet motion, too. A breeze drifts through the square, carrying the scent of baked bread and olive oil. Somewhere nearby, a door creaks open,
and the smell of stew seeps into the air.
Lentils, garlic, herbs. It mixes with the dust and the sunlight, filling the space between buildings. A group of workers pass by, their clothes streaked with clay and lime. They move slowly, shoulders heavy, their conversation low and steady, and their steps are the same rhythm as yours, part of the same endless pattern.
No one hurries.
No one lingers. The city moves them all together like water flowing around stones. In one corner, an old man feeds pigeons from his palm. They flutter and coo, their feathers catching glints of gold in the light. He smiles once, then looks down again, content. The birds peck softly, their tiny feet tapping against the stone. The sound is like raindrops.
Quiet, irregular, real.
You rise from the fountain and continue. The road slopes gently downward, leading toward the river. The smell of water grows stronger. The air feels heavier, cooler. You can hear the sound of distant boats, wood creaking, ropes stretching,
Voices calling in rhythm.
A bridge appears ahead, its stones wide and pale under the sun. You stop halfway across. Below, the Tiber moves slowly, green and patient, a mirror for the sky. Small waves lap at the base of the pillars. Each sound folds into the next, a rhythm without beginning or end. Across the water, the far bank glows with sunlight. A woman washes clothes in the shallows. She works without pause, her arms moving with practiced grace. Water splashes, cloth slaps against stone, and the sound becomes part of the river's own song. A small breeze crosses the bridge.
It cools your face,
Ruffles the hem of your tunic, and carries with it the faint salt of distant sea air. You close your eyes for a moment. The wind and the water move together, soft, endless, unbroken. When you open your eyes, you see the city spread out before you. Rooftops, towers, courtyards, all wrapped in haze. It looks vast, but in this light it feels gentle. The noise has softened too, becoming something almost musical. You stand there, breathing slowly,
watching the dust drift through sunbeams.
After a while, you turn back toward the heart of the city. The path leads uphill, past gardens and low walls. A woman tends to herbs in a small pot by her window. A boy runs errands with a loaf of bread under his arm. Each life unfolds quietly, like a thread woven into the same fabric. The sun begins to tilt westward. Shadows stretch again, long and soft, across the cobblestones. The color of the city deepens. Bronze, amber, pale rose. The heat loosens its hold. The air cools and the first hints of evening slip in like a sigh. You pause at a crossroad. A man lights a torch near his door. The flame flickers, its glow warm against the darkening stone. For a moment, the city seems to breathe again. A slow inhale, a slower release. You walk onward. The day still lingers in the air, but night is already waiting in the corners. Rome continues to hum, soft, unending. Each step you take blends into that sound.
The hum of footsteps,
The murmur of voices, the rustle of wind between buildings.
and as you move through it all,
You feel it, the quiet strength of an ordinary day, built from countless small movements, each one carrying the world forward in silence. Work and survival, clean, corrected. The afternoon settles over the city like a warm cloth. Light softens along the edges of walls. Dust turns gold as it drifts, then falls without sound. The worksite waits with its simple order, stones in stacks, ropes coiled, tools laid where hands can find them without thinking. You return to your place along the half-built wall. The line is chalked straight across the foundation. A level rests on a block, its bubble quiet and centered.
nothing urges the day forward except habit.
Habit is enough. A partner passes you a brick. The clay is rough under your palms. You wipe a thin layer of mortar along the face, set the weight down, press, and feel it settle. A small tap with the wooden mallet. A tiny slide to square the corner. The block agrees with the line. You move on. Around you, other hands repeat the same motions. Someone hums a steady note. Someone clears a throat. A trowel scratches. A rope tightens. The sounds coil together into one soft rhythm. The kind the body learns and never forgets. Heat lingers against your back. Shade gathers beneath the scaffolding, a thin band of comfort that slides a few fingers' width with every minute. Sweat threads along your temple, dries, and returns. You breathe through it. You lift through it. The day keeps its pace. A cart arrives with fresh bricks. The wheels tick over the seams in the stones, and not hurried, not slow, just steady. Two workers unload the stack. The pile becomes a new, short hill. The cart rolls away lighter than it came. You check the line again. The thread is taut, a quiet boundary between what is finished and what is not. Your hand finds the trowel without looking. Metal meets clay with a soft rasp. Mortar spreads in a thin, even coat. Another brick lowers into place, then another, each one joining the wall with a small sigh. At your feet, a bucket of water waits. You dip the trowel to rinse the residue, watch the cloud bloom, then clear. The water holds the day for a moment, then lets it go. Near the corner, a mason shapes a special piece, trimming the edge with careful strokes. Chips fall like pale petals and scatter in the dust. He turns the block, lifts, sets, eyes the line, and nods once to himself. The gesture is small, but it means the same thing every time. Right enough. Carry on. Mid-afternoon, the foreman walks the length of the wall. His steps are even. His voice is low when he speaks. He points to a high spot on the mortar and smooths it with a flick of his wrist. He stands back. He says nothing more. The work resumes as if his motion alone gave permission. You step down from the scaffolding to stretch. Your shoulders answer with a long, quiet ache, not pain, only a reminder that the muscles are real.
And the day has weight.
You take a drink from your small jug. The water is warm now, but good. It slides across a dry throat and settles calmly. You wipe your mouth with the back of your hand. Look at the sky and see the sun moving one brick's length toward evening. A breeze arrives, thin and wandering, threading through the open spaces between houses. It ruffles the edge of a tunic, lifts a pinch of dust, then disappears. You feel the air cool slightly where sweat has dried. It is enough to make the next lift easier. The wall grows by finger widths, by quiet increments that do not announce themselves. Every so often you set the mallet down and listen, and nothing is silent, yet nothing presses. All the sounds flatten into a single, even tone. Trowel, footstep, creak, breath. You rest your palm on the new course and feel the faint grit of sand. It will brush away later. For now, it belongs. When the shadows sharpen, the foreman calls for a short pause. You sit on a length of timber in the sliver of shade. A boy brings a small basket down the lane, stopping at each worker with a few olives and a heel of bread. The bread is dense. The olives glisten in a smear of oil. You eat without hurry, chewing until flavor becomes warmth. Warmth becomes weight, and weight becomes calm. Across the lane, a woman sweeps her threshold. The broom's bristles whisper. A thread of flower dust pours from a window and hangs in the sun like smoke. Farther off, a mule shakes its harness and sighs. The whole neighborhood rotates a fraction toward evening. You stand again. Hands find tools. Feet find footholds on the worn rungs. A partner climbs above you and anchors the line for the next course.
The string vibrates once,
then stills. You match your breath to its stillness. Your shoulders settle. Work resumes. Sometimes a corner resists the square.
You lean close,
See where the bed is too proud. Take the edge off with the trowel and feel the bricks slump slightly into place. Control comes in ounces, not pounds. A light tap fixes what force would spoil. From time to time, the foreman checks the level. He lowers it, nods, moves on. No praise is needed. The proof stands in the line, in the bubble, in the way the shadow fits the edge. You notice how the site organizes itself without thought. The nearest bucket is always just there. The next stack of bricks sits within half an arm's reach. The person who needs a hand receives it before asking. No one directs this.
It grows from repetition.
The way a path grows under feet. A small crack of laughter opens and closes near the lime pit. It is not loud. It leaves no mark behind.
Only a brief lift in the air.
Then the same calm pace returns. Later, the breeze comes back with a little more weight. It climbs the scaffolding, turns the corner of a cloth, and cools the inside of your elbow where the skin is thin. You step into it for a few breaths, then step out and lift again. The sun begins to bend. Light slides from white to amber. Mortar changes color as it dries darker at the edges, paler at the face. You press a last line with the tip of the trowel to shed rain. The mark is shallow and straight. It will hold. A runner arrives with a coil of cord and a new plum. He sets them down where the foreman can see, then vanishes along the lane with the same even stride. The new plum swings briefly, finds center,
and rests against the wall,
its string humming faintly in the breeze. You scrape the trowel clean along the rim of the bucket, listen to the ring of metal on clay, then set the tool aside. Your hand stays in the air a moment longer than necessary, as if it must also come to rest. The foreman raises his hand. Work quiets along the line of scaffolding, not all at once. One motion finishes,
then another,
until the last sound is only a brush laying itself down. It is not yet evening, but the day has tipped toward it. You look along the wall and see the new work catching light. Every edge makes a thin ribbon of gold. Every joint lies flat and calm. Nothing asks to be fixed. Nothing demands more. You rinse your hands in the basin. Mortar dissolves into a pale cloud, swirls and settles. You tip the water out onto the ground where the dust accepts it without complaint. The smell is clean: lime, clay, a waning heat. Tools return to their places. Ropes coil back into simple circles. The level rests on a shelf. The mallet lies with its head toward the wall, as if pointing to where tomorrow will begin. You step down one rung at a time. The wood is smooth from years of use.
Your foot knows each spot.
At the ground, the earth feels softer than it did in the morning. The day has pressed it gently. Around you, small conversations rise and fall. They are short, spare, practical, a measure for sand, a reminder about the new stack, a nod toward the corner that will take the first stone in the morning. Nothing more is needed. You stand apart for a moment and simply look.
The wall is not high,
Not famous,
not anything more than itself.
it keeps its shape.
It will hold a room,
Or a roof, or a bit of shade for someone who needs it.
that is all.
You lift your bag and sling it over your shoulder. The strap digs into a familiar place. It has done so every day for years. It will do so again tomorrow. Your body accepts the weight, balances it without thought, and turns toward the street. The lane outside is warmer than the sight. Light pools in the low places, slips along thresholds and gathers at corners. A child's toy, a small carved stick, lies forgotten by a step. A cat stretches and settles against a warm patch of stone. A door closes gently. The sound is soft and round, like a pebble dropped into water. You begin to walk, shoulders ease, hands open slightly at your sides. Your feet find the center of each stone without looking. You pass the lime pit, the timber pile, the coil of rope. Each thing returns to stillness as you pass. Nothing follows you. Nothing clings. Out on the broader street, the city has shifted down a note. Voices sit lower in the throat. Wheels turn with less effort. Shadows reach for one another across the road and touch in long, cool bands. You pause at a small fountain set into a wall. The spout offers a thin stream. You drink from cupped hands. The water tastes of iron and thyme. It leaves a clean line down your chin. You wipe it with a thumb and let the rest dry in the air. Across the way, a shopkeeper sweeps her threshold. A ribbon of dust slides out to the street and disappears into the common color of evening. She leans her broom against the door and rests her forearms on her knees. Her breath slows. Yours matches it for a moment. without planning. You continue on. The work stays behind you without argument.
The wall stands where it stands, holding the last of the light.
Tomorrow it will accept another course, and
Tonight it only needs to cool.
at the bend, a small boy runs past with a bundle of kindling. He keeps both arms around it, chin tucked over the top. He passes like a soft wind and is gone. The street accepts the motion and falls quiet again. You turn toward home,
The day folds along its crease.
clean and familiar. Every step has weight and no urgency.
Your hands swing loosely at your sides.
You feel the echo of the mallet in your forearms, and not sharp, just a memory of force turned gentle. Ahead, a doorway opens and lets out a line of warm air that smells of grain and oil. The scent slips across your path and fades. Somewhere behind you, a hammer taps twice, more habit than need, then stops.
Silence resumes its place.
The city is not done, it only grows quieter. You move with it, part of the same long breath, holding nothing back, asking nothing more. By the time the lane narrows toward your building, light has thinned to a calm bronze. The stones keep that color a while and then let it go. You rest your hand on the doorframe for a moment, feeling the smooth groove where many hands have done the same. The wood is warm. The warmth stays on your palm as you lift it away. The day has been simple, and that is its fullness. Weight lifted, lines kept, edges met. A wall that was not there this morning is there tonight. Quiet and ordinary, and exactly enough. Evening and rest. The sun slips behind the rooftops. Light softens along the edges of stone, turning the walls a calm bronze. The city exhales. Footsteps slow, shadows lengthen and meet across the road. You make your way through the narrow lanes. Windows glow with small lamps. Shutters close with gentle hands. A cart rolls past, its wheels low and even.
The mule moves without hurry.
Its breath shows for a moment, then fades. Smoke lifts from cooking fires. It twists between doorways, carrying the smell of oil and grain. Somewhere, a wooden spoon circles a clay pot. The rim whispers each time it is touched. The sound is steady, soft, and patient. Children finish their games in the dust.
A line becomes a circle, then nothing at all.
A mother calls in a low voice. The words travel a short distance and fall quiet. Even the wind seems slower now. It passes, rests, and passes again. You reach your building.
Stone remembers the day's heat.
It holds it gently, like a hand holding water. Inside, the air is cooler. It smells of straw, wood, and old clay. Your bag settles to the floor with a soft thud. Work sets itself down. A small lamp waits on the table. You strike the wick. The flame lifts, bends, and finds its place. Light opens into the corners, and the room becomes a warm, shallow pool. Shadows move along the plaster, slow as breath. Your meal is simple, bread with a firm crust, a small bowl of lentils, a line of oil. The first bite is plain and kind. It's stead.
You chew slowly.
You let the flavor rise and settle. Each mouthful marks the passing of the day. Outside, the city lowers its voice.
A pair of neighbors exchange a few words.
Their tones rise and fall like a small tide. A shutter clicks into place. A broom leans against a wall. Silence returns to its seat.
You tear another piece of bread.
The lamp hums in its own way, and not a sound but a shape in the air. It holds the room together. You sip watered wine.
It is cool at first, then quiet.
You breathe out, and the shoulders answer. They loosen by a small degree. From far away, a lyre plays, only a few notes, thin and clear. They drift across the roofs, touch the window, and slide through into the room. They do not ask for attention. They pass through like a breeze through linen, and leave the air a little smoother than before. You finish eating.
You clean the bowl with the last of the bread.
You wipe the table with your sleeve.
The tasks are small and sure.
They bring the world into order. You stack the cup. You fold the cloth, one thing then another, until the table is clear and still. You sit back. The wall supports you, cool at first, then warm. The flame is steady now. It throws a low circle of light over your hands. They rest open on your knees. Dust holds to the lines of the fingers,
proof of the day that is ending.
Outside, a door closes gently. The sound is round and complete. Then footsteps pass down the stair, each one softer than the last. Somewhere, water pours into a basin. It stops. The quiet returns. You rise and cross to the small window. The alley is calm. Torches glow at the corner, their flames rocking with the air. Smoke drifts upward, thin ribbons that fade into the deepening blue. A cat moves along a ledge, pauses and blends into shadow. You watch until the eye no longer finds what it seeks, then let the view go. Back inside, you set the lamp lower. The light pulls in, drawing the room into a softer shape. You untie your sandals. Leather loosens around the feet. It falls to the floor with a dry whisper. You rub your arches with slow thumbs. Warmth spreads through the skin, a quiet message to the legs. Rest. The blanket waits on the bed, heavy enough to be known, light enough to be kind. You smooth it once with the palm of your hand. The fabric carries a faint scent of sun and straw. You sit, then lie back. The mattress accepts your weight without argument. The breath settles into a slower count.
The city outside continues, but softly.
A late cart crosses a distant street. Wheels murmur. A voice calls a greeting. Another answers with a short laugh. Then the lane is empty again. Only the night remains, spread evenly from wall to wall. You let your attention follow three sounds: the lamp, your breath, and the faintest wind at the window. In, hold, out, again. Nothing presses.
Nothing insists. The air moves.
You move with it. Your eyes grow heavy. You do not force them closed. They sink in their own time, like stones settling at the bottom of a clear pool. A warmth rises in the chest, slow and even. With each exhale, the day loosens its hold. You think of the streets you crossed. The stones have cooled. The fountain keeps its small music. The market sleeps under folded cloth. Somewhere, a baker lights the first coals for morning. The city holds all of it at once. What was, what is about to be.
It does so without effort.
It simply continues. You roll one shoulder, then the other. The body agrees to be quiet. The mind follows. Thoughts line up like pots on a shelf, each in its place, each at rest. Beyond the window, the sky deepens to indigo. A few stars appear where the roofs part. They are small and steady. They ask nothing.
They give a single gentle fact.
Night is here. The lamp lowers again.
You turn its wick. 1 finger's width. The flame bows,
Holds and remains. You watch the light for a while. It moves in a slow pattern along the wall, like water against stones. The motion repeats until it becomes a kind of lullaby. There are no words to it. Only shape, only calm. The blanket rises and falls with your breath. The room warms by a small degree. The last threads of the day pull free. They drift and vanish in the quiet. Outside, the alley is almost silent now. A final pair of footsteps passes the door. A latch clicks. A chair slides a few inches on a floor. Then stillness again, full and kind without edges. You let the jaw unclench. You let the hands be heavy. You let the shoulders drop toward the bed. Each part of the body learns the same word, the one that means ease. In the near distance,
a single dog barks once.
no answer comes. The sound falls into the night and is absorbed. Nothing rises to replace it. The quiet holds. Your breath chooses its own pace. It finds an even line and stays. In that line there is room enough for sleep to enter. It arrives without announcement, like mist moving across a field. It fills the low places first,
then spreads to the rest.
The lamp can wait a little longer. Its circle has grown small. Its light is warm and low. You turn onto your side, pull the blanket higher, and rest one hand over the other. The bed holds steady. The night holds steady. You hold steady. Rome continues to breathe beyond the walls. It does not ask to be heard. It hums to itself, a tone made of stone and air. The sound does not change. It becomes the space beneath your breath, the calm floor on which the body can sleep. The eyes close fully now. The muscles release the last of their work. The voice inside becomes very quiet, then still. There is nothing to do.
The room is enough. The night is enough. The soft weight of the blanket is enough.
The lamp lowers once more. The flame pauses at the edge of itself. A small gold seed set in a dark field.
It holds there,
Steady and kind, and you, already drifting, follow it down into rest. Rodoguni's vow.
Night has fully taken the sky.
The air is cooler now, clear and slow. Rome sleeps in wide layers of shadow. Lanterns tremble on the river road. A dog moves once, then lies still again.
Far from the city, the wind carries another story.
It moves across plains of dust and broken stone, across the quiet bones of an old empire's border. In that stillness stands a camp. Tents, pale as shells beneath a cold moon. The fires inside are small, their smoke rising straight until it vanishes into stars. Among those tents, a single figure sits awake. Her name is Rodogune. Her armor rests beside her, dented, quiet, breathing with the night. The rest of the soldiers sleep, their breaths weaving together a low chorus of exhaustion. She sharpens a blade slowly, edge to edge, a calm rhythm more for thought than for war. The stone hums. Each stroke holds the shape of memory. The sound becomes a pulse beneath the wind.
A small lamp flickers near her hand.
It shows the faint dust along her fingers, the lines that work and battle have drawn there. Her face is still, eyes fixed on the flame. It dances, and the light draws soft circles on the bronze of her arm guard. The night deepens.
An owl calls once.
The camp does not stir. The air smells of smoke, iron, and wool. Everything is calm. The kind of calm that feels earned, not given. Rodoguni lays the blade down. Her hands rest on her knees. She closes her eyes for a while. Thoughts move like water through the mind, slow, without edges. The day behind her fades. The noise of command, the clash of decision, all fall away. There is only breath now, the sound of it in the chest, steady, measured, anchoring her to the moment. She thinks of her vow. It is not a grand one. It does not need to be. It was made quietly to herself years ago to keep what is hers. Her name, her steadiness,
the line inside that does not break.
To hold it through chaos,
Through the hum of battle.
through the silence after, to guard not a throne but a center. The fire beside her lowers. The coals glow faintly, breathing light in small pulses. She adds a branch. The flame wakes, stretches, then settles back down. Its crackle is slow, a voice without words. A breeze moves through the tent,
It lifts the edge of a map on the table.
shows a corner of the world drawn in fading ink. Mountains rise in lines of brown, rivers in lines of blue. Her finger traces one path,
Then stops.
it has always stopped there. The border that never stays still. She lets the map fall closed. The fabric sighs and the tent breathes again. Her armor waits by the bedroll. The plates catch what little light remains. They look heavy, even in rest. She touches the edge with her thumb. It is cool now, the heat of the day gone. The dent near the shoulder is old.
She leaves it.
Not every mark needs mending. She lies back. The blanket covers half her chest, the air filling the rest. Her breath evens out, slow, deep, deliberate.
The sounds of the camp return.
A horse shifting its weight, a chain moving once, a man turning in sleep. All small, all ordinary. Above the canvas roof, stars press against the sky. They seem close enough to touch,
Their light is older than the vow, older than the war.
older than the empire that built this silent. Rodogunin opens her eyes to them for a moment. The light finds her pupils, rests there, and does nothing more. She blinks once it lets the lids fall. The stars remain. They always do. The wind changes direction,
It comes now from the east.
carrying a colder scent. Metal, snow, the edge of distance. It slips through the tent flap, moves across her hair, and leaves as gently as it came. In that breath of air, the vow renews itself. Not spoken, not thought.
Simply remembered by the body that carries it.
The heart answers once, a small pulse beneath the ribs. That is enough.
Sleep does not arrive suddenly. It folds around her piece by piece. Shoulders,
Hands, eyes, until only breath remains awake. Outside, the fire lowers again. Ash drifts upward, soft grey against the dark. The wind lifts it, turns it, and scatters it across the plain.
the particles vanish before they fall.
The night holds steady, the world holds steady, every tent in the camp keeps its place. The soldiers dream of home or of nothing at all. Rodoguna dreams of neither, she simply drifts.
Her face is calm.
The line between brow and cheek has softened. The air around her seems to slow. The blanket rises and falls.
It matches the rhythm of the coals. The rhythm matches the
earth matches the stars.
and in that endless line of stillness,
Everything finds its place again. Far off, the first pale thread of dawn touches the horizon. It waits there, quiet, without hurry. The night does not end yet. It simply prepares to let go. The wind sighs once more through the camp. It passes over armor, through ropes, across quiet faces. It leaves no sound behind it, only the steady pulse of a world at rest, and one woman breathing in time with it. The return. Morning rises without noise. The first light gathers slowly behind the hills, touching the edges of the tents with silver. Smoke drifts from last night's fires, thin and harmless, a memory of warmth. The camp stirs, but softly.
a cough here,
A footstep there. The sound of water poured from one jug to another. No command, no horn, just the quiet recognition that another day has come. Rodogun opens her eyes. The canvas above her glows faintly, a pale gold that deepens with every breath. She lies still for a while,
listening.
The air feels clean. It smells of ashes and dew. She can taste the morning on her lips, cold, metallic, alive. Her armor waits near her feet, the plates stacked neatly. The edge of her blade catches a single ray of light, and for a moment the tent fills with brightness. She blinks once, and the light fades again. Everything returns to calm. She rises, wraps the cloak around her shoulders, and steps outside. The wind greets her, low and steady, as if it has been waiting. The land before her is wide and pale. Grass bends in long waves. The sun, still small, moves through the mist like a lantern. Every shape is softened, every sound slower than it should be. She walks toward the edge of the camp. Footprints from the night before crisscross the earth, a pattern already beginning to fade. Beyond them, the open plain stretches toward the horizon, toward home. No one speaks as she passes. The soldiers nod in silence. A few raise hands in quiet farewell. The look is enough. No words would carry better than that.
Her horse waits tethered to a post,
Muzzle dusted with ash. She touches its neck. The skin is warm under her palm. It exhales softly, a sound like the earth itself letting go. She unties the rope, checks the saddle, and climbs up. The movement is practiced, smooth from years of habit. The air trembles faintly with the first insects. A line of birds rises from the grass, crosses the morning light, and disappears eastward. The camp fades behind her. Tents becoming small dots, smoke thinning into sky. The road ahead is not marked, but she knows it. It has waited in her mind for months. The horse steps easily, its hooves sinking just enough to leave a trace. Each sound is a heartbeat, soft, rhythmic, patient. The landscape unfolds in quiet layers. Low hills, scattered trees. A stream that catches the light like a blade. The sky widens with every mile.
clouds drift slowly,
Their shadows gliding across the ground. She passes the remains of a small outpost. Stones half buried, a wooden post leaning toward the east. Grass has claimed the rest. She dismounts for a moment, rests a hand on one of the stones. It is warm from the sun, yet it holds a deeper cold underneath. She feels both at once. It reminds her how time moves, not forward, but through. Back on the road, the wind rises. It pushes gently against her shoulders, as if urging her onward. She lowers her head, lets it pass through her hair, and continues. By midday, the sun is high. Its light presses down but does not burn. The air is filled with the sound of distant birds, their calls spaced wide apart like slow thoughts crossing the mind. She stops near a cluster of stones to rest. The horse drinks from a shallow pool. She kneels beside it, scoops a handful of water, and lets it run through her fingers. The drops darken the dust for a moment, then vanish. She eats a small piece of bread, some dried fruit. The meal is quiet, barely more than a gesture. When she is done, she sits for a while, watching the light move along the grass. It bends and straightens in endless patterns, each one dissolving before it's noticed. The road curves gently westward. In the far distance, the faint outline of walls appears. Home, or what remains of it. It does not seem far, but she knows distance can lie. It stretches and folds depending on the heart. She does not measure. She simply rides. As afternoon deepens, the sky thickens with gold. Every color turns soft. Even the air feels slower. Dust rises with each hoof step, then falls like fine rain. Villages begin to appear. Small, quiet, built of the same clay as the land. Smoke rises from a chimney. A woman hangs cloth across a line. Children sit near a well, their laughter low, without urgency. Rodaguna passes without stopping. Their eyes follow her for a moment, then return to their own rhythm. She knows this stillness, the language of work and waiting of lives built on repetition. It comforts her. It means the world continues. As the sun lowers, she reaches the edge of the plain. The path narrows between two hills. The air cools quickly. Shadows slip forward, wrapping the world in calm color. The first star appears, then another. She dismounts to walk beside the horse. The ground here is soft with fallen leaves. They whisper beneath each step, a sound thin and constant. The smell of pine and earth surrounds her. It feels like a welcome. At the crest of the hill, she stops. Before her, the valley opens wide. A river winds through it, catching the last of the light. Beyond the water, a village lies folded in dusk. The roofs are dark against the sky. A single column of smoke rises straight and still. Rodagoon stands for a long moment. Her hand rests on the horse's neck. The animal breathes steadily, mirroring her own rhythm. The air hums softly between them. When she begins walking again, she feels something loosen. Not a burden dropped, but a space made clear. Each step forward is lighter than the one before. The path curves down, and she follows it without thought. The village meets her with silence. Doors closed, lamps lit. A few figures move behind thin curtains. She passes through the narrow streets, the horse's hooves muffled by dirt. The smell of baked grain drifts from a window. A child's voice hums a tune, barely above a whisper. At the far edge of the village, she finds the small house that once was hers. The walls lean slightly now. Moss grows along the base. The door stands half open, the wood swollen by time. She steps inside. Dust rises in a soft cloud. The air smells of ash and sun. A single chair remains near the hearth. A clay bowl sits where she left it, cracked but whole. She runs a finger along its rim. The sound is low and pure, a note of recognition.
She sets her pack down,
Removes the cloak and kneels to the floor. Her hand finds the cool stone beneath the dust. It feels the same as it did years ago. The same and not the same. She stays there a long time, breathing quietly, letting the silence fill her chest. The body remembers how to be still. It remembers that rest can exist without sleep. Outside, the river moves in slow silver lines. The sound drifts through the door, steady and calm. A dog barks once in the distance, then stops. The night accepts the sound and folds it into itself. Rodogune stands, moves to the window, and looks out. The hills are dark now, their outlines faint beneath the stars. The moon is low, a thin curve of white along the horizon. She takes a breath and lets it out. The air is cool, full of small scents: water, grass, smoke. It feels like everything she left behind has waited here all along, unchanged, unmoving, true. She sits in the chair by the hearth. The wood creaks softly beneath her weight. The silence grows deeper, thicker, but not heavy. It feels alive, like something breathing beside her. Her eyes close slowly. Her body eases, each muscle remembering what it means to release. The sound of the river grows louder, then softer again. It matches her breath. Outside, the wind shifts, turning from east to west. It carries the scent of night flowers and the faint trace of rain far away. The stars hold their places. Nothing moves quickly anymore. Prodogune's head tilts forward. Sleep arrives without asking. It comes as quietly as the dawn, folding around her like a second cloak. Her breath evens, steady and calm. In the distance, the river keeps its rhythm. The hills keep their shape. The night, vast and silver, keeps its peace. And within that stillness, her journey, long, slow, and full of quiet vows, finds its rest at last. Tomyris of the Steppe. Night opens over the steppe like a slow breath. The land lies wide and unbroken, a gentle curve of grass and sand under a sky that does not hurry. Stars settle into their places, calm and sure. The wind moves low to the ground, brushing small waves through the grass, carrying the clean scent of dust and cold. Far to the east, where the plain meets the faint outline of hills, a cluster of tents makes a soft pattern against the dark. Ropes run from stake to stake. Canvas lifts and falls by a finger's width with every current of air. Fires burn low in round pits, coals the color of ripe fruit, glowing and dimming in an easy rhythm. Horses stand tethered in a loose ring, heads lowered, tails, slow breath, silver in the starlight. Here, in the clear middle of the steppe, Tomyris rests with her people. The night carries no weight. It spreads evenly over every tent, over every sleeping figure, over the open paths that only hoof and wind can remember. The earth underfoot keeps its steady cool. The sky above keeps its patient depth. Tomyris sits outside her tent a while longer, wrapped in a plain cloak. A bowl of water reflects the stars. She dips one hand and the reflections break, then return. The sound of the camp is almost nothing. A rope creaking softly, a horse knocking a hoof once against dry ground, a spoon settling in a cup. She watches the horizon for a time. There is no line drawn there, only a slow change of tone, dark to darker, then to a shade that suggests the idea of morning. The step does not rush to reveal it.
The step is never in a hurry.
Her mind is unknotted tonight. The routes are known. The wells are reliable. The stars are steady guides, each one a point that can be trusted. Tomyris counts them without counting, letting the sky move past her the way water moves past a stone. When she stands, it is without effort. She checks the bridle of her horse, palm on leather, fingers passing over braided cord. Everything is in its place. She nods once to the guard, who returns the gesture, then sits again where the embers glow. In the morning, the camp will lift itself like a sail. Ropes will coil, stakes will come up, the tents will fold into clean layers. The herd will move in a wide arc, hooves pressing shallow cups into the earth, each print filling with a breath of dust and light. For now, none of that exists.
There is only the slow, even rhythm of night.
And a leader who meets it with the same calm measure. Tomyris closes her eyes. She listens to the wind threading the grass.
It makes a sound like cloth pulled through a ring.
Small, even continuous. The body learns this sound and loosens to it. Shoulders settle.
Hands grow quiet.
Breath finds the line it prefers and stays there. Across the plain, a fox moves in a straight path, stopping, listening, moving again. Farther still, a wolf calls once,
a single, long tone that the night accepts and sets down gently. The stars do not blink.
They remain as they were. The step continues to hold everything at once. Tomyris thinks of the road behind her.
It does not arrive as a string of victories or losses.
It comes as a sequence of places. The low river with reeds like thin spears, the dry ridge where the wind always shifts, the hollow where water gathers after rare rain, leaving a ring of salt like white thread around a shallow bowl. These are the markers that matter. They are the map, written in the land itself, renewed each season, familiar without becoming less large. She has guided her people along these lines for years. They travel where grass is good, where water is reachable, where the sky keeps open paths. Her judgment is measured and quiet. She trusts slowness. She trusts looking twice, listening longer, waiting for the sign that belongs to the place and not to the mood of the moment. When meetings come,
she speaks in the same way the wind moves.
Low, clear, without rush. Those around her answer in kind. Decisions carry the weight of grass under a herd, sure, distributed, unforced. Nothing breaks, everything bends, then returns. The fire lowers, ash forms a pale skin over the coals. Tomyris rests her palm near the heat, not on it, just close enough to feel the slow pulse. She thinks of the riders who range ahead at dawn, checking water, counting miles in their heads, reading the slope of the light for weather. Each returns with a short report, spare and exact. She makes a line of these in her mind,
and the next day shapes itself from the sum.
Memory comes like a warm wind from the past. A young horse learning the circle of the corral, hooves uncertain at first, then sure. A mother's hand on a child's shoulder, steadying without grip. A bow in the evening's string singing a low note as it is set aside. No single event pushes forward.
Only patterns, only the quiet repetition that turns skill into nature.
She hears the small click of her necklace,
beads of bone and stone worn smooth by years.
They touch and part with each breath. The sound is barely there. It keeps time with her heart. When sleep comes, it is like mist. It gathers first around the ankles, then climbs as gently as cool water in a shallow pond. The body does not resist. The mind steps aside and the ground receives her completely.
Dawn arrives as a narrow band of pearl.
The tents take shape again, edges defined, ropes taut. Horses shake out their manes. The air holds a light bite, clean and welcome.
Tomyris wakes and rises in one motion.
The night has rinsed every thought until only what matters remains. The camp's work is simple and practiced. Fires brighten for a short meal. Leather is checked, hooves are picked. Water skins fill in a calm line. A child runs in circles that leave no trace.
A sleeping dog lifts its head,
then sleeps again. Nothing sharp, nothing sudden, only tasks that know their order. Tomyris walks the ring of horses, hand on flank, hand on shoulder, reading the small language of muscle and breath. She pauses with one mare fingers at the jawline, feeling the slow chew of grass remembered from yesterday. The mare snorts softly. The sound is low and friendly. They stand together for a time, then part. By the time the sun clears the low hills, the camp is ready to move. The herd flows forward, not as a rush,
but as a wide, quiet wave.
Children ride double, elders settle into steady saddles. Carts roll at the pace of a long day's patience. Dust rises a hand's span and hangs there like pale silk.
It leaves the air without hurry.
Tomyris takes the lead, not far ahead, just enough that her horse's ears are the first to catch new wind. She keeps her eyes on the line where grass breaks to rock, where rock breaks to the narrow thread of distant water.
The step lifts and lowers in long breaths.
The sky leans open over the earth. The hours pass the way. Water passes a flat stone, without sound, without rush, without leaving a mark to worry. When they stop at midday, the shade of the carts makes a small town of cool rectangles. Bread is shared, milk is poured, laughter comes and goes like the shadow of a cloud.
Then the wheels turn again,
and the plain receives them. In the afternoon, the light deepens and grows tender. Grasses take on the color of honey. The edges of every object soften. Tomyris loosens the reins. The horse answers with a longer step. The world opens by another arm's length. On a far ridge, a stone marker stands.
Old tilted,
half sunk. She pauses there, touches it with her palm, and feels the stored heat of 100 summers. The stone keeps its record without words. It says only that others passed, and that passing is a kind of staying. Evening gathers. Shadows pull together and lie down across the land. The herd curls into a circle. Tents grow from the earth like rounded hills. A fire takes, then lowers to a low red bed. Tomyris removes the saddle, rubs the horse's back with a rough cloth, and hangs the gear where wind will clean it. The animal stands with one hip loose, head low at ease. Night returns with the ease of a familiar friend. Stars take their places. The cold rises gently, asking for a cloak. A thin tea warms the hands.
The first sip is the best.
The second is enough. Tomyris sits on a folded skin. Around her, voices flow like a quiet river. Stories are told in small pieces, words placed with care. Ends left open so that sleep can finish them. She listens more than she speaks. When she does speak, it is to mark a route, name a spring, remind others of a slope that will ask for patience. The words do their work and lie still. Later, the camp sinks into a deep, even hush. Only the horses move, shifting weight,
stamping once to discourage a fly that is already gone.
Tomyris lifts her face to the sky. She picks out the line of stars that points north, the small loop that marks late summer. These are constants. They make a frame no wind can bend.
She thinks of distant cities made of stone,
of walls that keep to one place, of streets that remember every footfall and hold on to it. The step keeps no such ledger. It writes and erases in the same motion. For Tomyris, this is not loss. It is freedom with edges smooth as worn bone.
The fire has given itself to ash.
Heat remains under the pale skin of dust. She lays a palm above it, feeling the last low pulse. She stands and
steps into her tent
and breathes in the darkness there. It smells of leather and wind and the faint sweetness of dried grass. Sleep waits, steady and patient. It arrives as it did the night before. Quiet, complete, certain. Her body lowers to the bed of furs. The cloak folds over her shoulders. Breath slows to the count the step prefers. Outside, the wind walks the circle of the camp, checking ropes, touching canvas, balancing everything that can be balanced. The land lies wide and unbroken again. The sky holds steady.
The herd breathes.
The people breathe.
Tomyris breathes. The world narrows to this simple harmony.
And in that harmony, there is rest enough for all. The quiet of the hive. Dawn returns without effort. It rises over a landscape that has already accepted it. The air glows the color of pale honey, soft and slow, as if the light itself had been sieved through silk.
Somewhere near the edge of the fields,
a hive wakes. It does not wake suddenly, it wakes the way breath does, from the inside out. The first movement is sound, a small vibration under the skin of the world, then wings, then warmth. The bees begin their work. They do not speak of it, do not measure it, they move because movement belongs to them. The hum builds and steadies a single note carried by 1,000 lives. In a nearby garden, a man kneels to tie a vine to its post. He works with the same rhythm as the bees. Slow, certain, hands knowing what to do long before the mind names it. The ground is cool beneath his knees.
The scent of pollen drifts through the air,
thick and bright. He listens to the hum. It does not rise or fall. It stays, even the sound of balance kept without thinking. He breathes with it,
finds the same measure in his chest. In that shared rhythm,
the morning feels wide and safe. The fields stretch outward, rows of barley,
clusters of flowers,
paths still wet with dew. Each blade of grass catches a point of light. Each drop of water holds a small reflection of the sky. The wind slides through, touching everything once, then passing on. The man lifts a jar from beside the hive. He sets it on the low table near the entrance, ready for the afternoon harvest. He does not rush.
There is time enough for everything today. The bees know this.
So does he. He stands, wipes his hands on his tunic, and looks toward the distant hills. Their shapes are soft in the morning haze. The color shifts from gold to gray to blue. Nothing asks to be sharper than it is. The village behind him begins to stir. Doors open. Water pours into basins. A faint ring of metal meets wood, as tools are lifted from their hooks. Smoke curls from small chimneys, straight at first, then bending with the breeze. The hum of life spreads outward, gentle, unforced. He walks back through the path between the rows. His sandals brush the wet leaves. Each step leaves a dark print that fades almost at once. The bees follow him for a moment, then return to their work. He smiles without meaning to. At the well, a woman draws water. The rope creaks. The bucket rises, dripping light. They nod to each other. No words, just the quiet understanding of shared routine. She pours water into a clay jug, the sound round and full. It joins the music of the morning. Inside the small house, shadows still hold to the corners. He lights a lamp, though he does not need it. Its flame flickers against the wall, steadying the air. He sits at the table, breaks bread, dips it into a bowl of milk. The taste is simple, clean. It fills without heaviness. Outside, the hive hums louder, but never loud. Each sound blends into the next dash dash. Wings, wind, footsteps, breath. Together they make the same soft pattern the world has always known. He finishes eating, sets the bowl aside, and steps once more into the light. The sun has lifted higher. It spreads warmth across his shoulders. He closes his eyes, lets it rest there. The air smells of grass and wax. A bee passes close to his ear, its tone even a small golden thread in the morning's weave. By midday, the garden shimmers. Heat rises in slow waves, turning everything into a painting of itself. The bees move more slowly now, each flight a curved line through light. He opens the hive carefully, hands steady, movements deliberate. Inside, the honey glows like glass. He lifts one frame, tilts it, watches sunlight run along its edge. The scent is deep and round.
He smiles again, not at joy,
but at completeness. This is what the day is for. He works without words. The honey drips into jars thick and silent. Each drop falls with the same patience as the wind. When the jars are full, he seals them with cloth and string. The lids tighten with a soft twist. The work is finished, but the hum continues. It always does. Afternoon settles gently. Children run past the garden path, their laughter thin and light as thread. A dog follows them halfway, then lies down in the shade. The world breathes slower again. He carries one jar inside, sets it on the table where the lamp still waits. The honey catches the flame and holds it. It looks like trapped sunlight, a memory of warmth kept for winter. He leaves it there. Some things are better when left to glow quietly. As the day folds toward evening, the air cools. The shadows stretch long. The hum of the hive lowers, deepening into a tone that feels like rest. The bees return in slow circles, landing one by one at the entrance. Their wings shine briefly, then vanish into the dark of the hive. The sound softens until it is no longer a sound at all. Just vibration, just breath.
He sits beside the hive.
The wood is warm beneath his hand. He can feel the faint tremor of life inside, a small echo of the world's own pulse. He stays like this until the light fades.
When night comes,
he does not light another fire. The air itself is gentle enough. The sky opens wide above the fields, stars placed like quiet promises. The wind turns cool, slipping through the grass with a whisper. The bees sleep now, their work complete, their hum folded inward. He watches the horizon until it blurs. The fields, the hives, the house. Everything becomes one shape, one color, one slow breath. He stands, walks inside, and lies down on the simple bed. The blanket smells faintly of smoke and honey. He draws it to his chin. Outside,
The hive vibrates once,
then stills completely. The earth, too, finds its level of silence. The night deepens in layers. First, the fields, then the trees, then the sky. Each one folding into rest. His eyes close. The hum continues somewhere beneath, thoughts
steady as blood,
endless as wind. It fills the space between heartbeats.
the space between breaths, and in that quiet rhythm,
The world becomes whole again.